Something happened last night. Something you never expected. Something that cracked open the silence between you. The person who knows your heart best, they stood in front of everyone. And they spoke. Not the careful words they always use. Not the safe, measured sentences that protect them from feeling too much. No. Last night, the truth finally escaped. You weren't even there. That's the part that aches the most. You were somewhere else, living your ordinary moment, while everything was shifting. While their walls were falling. While their heart was finally saying what it had been screaming in private for months. But here's what you don't know yet. Here's what no one has told you. The truth they admitted last night. It wasn't about them. It was about you. Can you feel it? That strange pull in your chest right now? That quiet knowing that something has changed? Perhaps you woke up this morning feeling different. Perhaps the air felt heavier. Or lighter. Or like the world had tilted just slightly on its axis. That was them. That was their confession reaching you across the distance. Because when a heart finally breaks open, when someone finally stops hiding, the universe carries that vibration straight to the one it belongs to. You felt it. Don't pretend you didn't. But that's not all. Something else happened today. Something that made the person you love drop everything. Something that made their hands shake. Made their voice crack. Made them desperate. They received news. News about you. News that changed everything they thought they knew. Stay with me now. The next part is where it all begins to unfold. You see, for so long, there has been this space between you. This invisible distance. Not anger. Not betrayal. Just silence. Unspoken words. Feelings that were too big to fit into regular conversations. And last night, something broke through. In front of witnesses. In front of people who will remember this moment forever. The person you love looked at everyone else. And spoke about you like you were the only person in the room. They said things they've never said before. Words they've been carrying like stones in their pocket. Words that cut both ways. Words that felt like both a wound and a healing. What did they say? That's the question burning in your mind, isn't it? That's why you're still here. That's why you can't look away. But I need you to understand something first. Something you might not have considered. The truth they admitted last night. It came from a place deeper than they even knew existed. It came from the part of them that recognizes you. The part that has always known who you really are. The part that has been trying to reach you through all the noise. And here's where it gets even more complicated. This morning, after the confession. After the words hung in the air like smoke. After everyone went home and tried to process what they'd witnessed. The person you love received a message. A message that completely changed their understanding of everything. A message about you. Don't skip this part. This is the moment everything pivots. The news they received. It wasn't bad news. It wasn't good news either. It was unexpected. It was the kind of news that makes you realize you've been seeing someone completely wrong. The kind of news that shatters every assumption you've built. The kind of news that forces you to ask yourself, have I been blind all this time? And now? Now they're desperate. Now they need to find you. Now they need to say something directly to you. Not in front of a crowd. Not with everyone watching. Just you. Just them. Just the truth. But the truth is still unfolding. The biggest revelation hasn't arrived yet. Because here's what no one tells you about moments like this. When someone finally admits the truth. When walls finally fall. When the person you love suddenly sees you clearly. It doesn't just change them. It changes you too. It changes the very ground you're standing on. It changes what you thought was real. You're probably wondering right now. Why now? Why after all this time? Why did they choose last night to finally speak? The answer will surprise you. The answer connects to something you haven't considered yet. Something about yourself. Something you've been avoiding. Something you haven't admitted to anyone. Not even to yourself. Another layer is about to be revealed. But first, think back. Think back to the last time you felt truly seen by this person. Think back to the moment when their eyes really met yours. When there was no distraction. No phone. No hurry. No escape. Remember that? Now imagine that moment magnified. Imagine that moment stretched across everything they said last night. Imagine that moment becoming the foundation for something entirely new. Because that's what happened. That's the part that's still hidden from you. That's the part that will make your heart race when you finally understand. The person you love isn't desperate to talk to you because they feel guilty. They're not desperate because they want to apologize. They're not desperate because they need closure. They're desperate because they've just realized something. Something they should have realized a long time ago. Something that makes all the previous silence feel like a tragedy. Something that makes every wasted moment feel like a loss. They realized that the distance between you, the silence, the unspoken words, it was never about not caring. It was never about not loving. It was about fear. Plain and simple. Fear of what would happen if they told the truth. Fear of how you might react. Fear of losing you completely. But now? Now they've seen something. Now they've heard something. Now they've received news that made fear irrelevant. What was that news? I can't tell you everything yet. The full truth is too much for one moment. The full truth needs to be felt in pieces. But I can tell you this. The news they received today. It confirmed something they've always suspected. Something they've always hoped. Something they've always been too afraid to believe. And that confirmation? It exploded inside them. It shattered every reason they had for staying silent. It made them pick up the phone. It made them send the message. It made them start searching for you. They need to tell you something. And they need to tell you now. But another question remains. A question that might be even more important. A question only you can answer. When they finally find you. When they finally stand in front of you. When their eyes meet yours again. What will you say? What will your heart do? What will the truth inside you finally allow? Because here's the secret you might not have realized yet. The confession last night? It was only the beginning. The full truth hasn't been spoken. The biggest piece is still hidden. The one that will change everything. The one that connects to the news they received today. And that truth? It's coming. It's coming soon. Closer than you think. Closer than you're ready for. So wait. Just a little longer. The next part is where everything finally begins to make sense. Where the cracks become openings. Where the silence finally breaks. And when it does, you'll understand why this had to happen this way. Why they had to speak last night. Why they had to receive that news today. Why everything is aligning right now. One more piece before you go. Something I want you to carry with you. The person you love isn't trying to fix anything. They're not trying to make up for lost time. They're not trying to be the hero of this story. They're trying to be honest. For the first time. Really honest. Honest enough to change everything. Honest enough to risk everything. Honest enough to finally say what they've been saying to themselves in the dark. You're still here. Something in you knew there was more. Something in you couldn't walk away. That's good. That's the part of you that's always known the truth was coming. Let me tell you what they actually said last night. Not the version you've imagined. Not the version your fears have constructed. The real words. The raw words. The words that made everyone in that room stop breathing. They stood up. The person you love stood up in front of everyone. Their hands were shaking. Their voice was low. But they didn't stop. They said your name. Your actual name. And the room went silent. Then they said, I've been lying to everyone in this room. I've been lying to myself. And most of all, I've been lying to them. A pause. A breath. A moment where no one moved. Then they continued. I've told myself it was about timing. I've told myself it was about circumstances. I've told myself that love wasn't enough. But none of that was true. Their voice cracked here. This is where the tears started. Not dramatic tears. The quiet kind. The kind that come from somewhere deep. The kind that can't be faked. The truth is, I've been afraid. Afraid of being rejected. Afraid of being seen. Afraid of being known completely. And I've let that fear steal years. Another piece of the truth came next. The hardest piece. I've been watching them. From a distance. Pretending I wasn't. Pretending I didn't care. Pretending that seeing them with other people didn't feel like glass in my chest. But here's where it gets even more revealing. Here's the part that shocked everyone. The part that no one expected. I've known for a long time that they're the one. And I've done nothing about it. Because I didn't think I deserved them. Because I didn't think I was enough. Because I was waiting for something perfect. Something that would never come. Then the words that changed everything. The words that made people look at each other in disbelief. But last week, something shifted. I saw them differently. I saw what I'd been missing. And I realized they couldn't finish. They had to stop. They had to breathe. They had to wipe their eyes. They had to gather themselves. Everyone waited. Everyone held their breath. And then they said this. I realized I've been the problem. Not circumstances. Not timing. Not them. Me. My fear. My pride. My excuses. This confession wasn't about blame. It wasn't about shame. It was about clarity. It was about finally seeing clearly enough to speak. And then they said the most important part. The part that connects to today. The part that makes everything make sense. I realized I couldn't keep hiding. Because life is too short. Because love is too rare. Because they deserve to know. Another pause. Another breath. Another moment where the whole room seemed to tilt. Everyone in this room knows them. Everyone has seen how incredible they are. Everyone has wondered why I never said anything. And now you know why. Because I was a coward. Because I was waiting. Because I was hoping someone else would make the first move. Because I didn't believe I deserved to be chosen. Then this. The most vulnerable sentence of all. But they've already chosen me. I just never let myself see it. Until now. Until today. Wait. Did you catch that? Did you catch the shift? Until today. That's the news. That's what happened this morning. That's the message that changed everything. The confession last night was powerful. But the news this morning? It was the key. It was the missing piece. It was what turned the confession from words into action. Here's what happened. This morning, the person you love received something. A message from someone who knows you both. Someone who sees what you don't see. Someone who finally decided to speak. That person said something simple. Something that shouldn't have been surprising. But it was. It hit like lightning. They said, "They've been waiting for you. All this time. Everyone can see it. Everyone except you." The person you love read those words. And something broke inside them. Something beautiful. Something that had been locked away. Something that had been too afraid to hope. They realized that all their fears, all their excuses, all their waiting, it was unnecessary. You were already there. You were always there. And now? Now the desperation makes sense. Now the urgency makes sense. Now the need to find you makes sense. Because they've been running in the wrong direction. Running away from what was already theirs. Running away from the one person who had already decided. Running away from the truth that was waiting all along. But that's not the end of the story. That's not even the middle. Because another revelation is coming. Something that connects to you. Something you don't know about yourself yet. Do you remember the last time you really looked at them? Really looked? Not the quick glance. Not the friendly check-in. The deep look. The one that happens when you forget to guard yourself. What did you see? What did you feel? What did you want to say but didn't? That moment matters now. That moment is connected to everything happening. Because while they were confessing last night, while they were speaking your name, while they were finally being honest, something was happening in you too. Something you didn't notice. Something that was preparing you for what's coming. You see, this is never just about one person's confession. This is never just about one piece of news. This is about two hearts finally aligning. Two hearts that have been circling each other for years. Two hearts that are about to collide. And the collision? It's closer than you think. It's more beautiful than you imagine. It's more terrifying than you expect. One more layer to reveal. One more truth that's still hidden. The news they received this morning. It wasn't just the message from that person. There was more. There was another message. One they haven't fully processed yet. One that changes the timeline completely. That message said something unexpected. Something that made them realize they have even less time than they thought. Something about you. Something about your life. Something about a change that's coming for you. They need to reach you before that change happens. Before everything shifts. Before the window closes. Before the opportunity passes. Because once that change comes, everything will be different. Everything will be harder. Everything will require more courage. So they're not just desperate. They're racing. Racing against time. Racing against fear. Racing against everything that's held them back. And you? You're about to feel them coming. You're about to sense the shift. You're about to receive the message. The phone will ring. The text will appear. The knock will come. Or maybe they'll just show up. No warning. No preparation. Just them. And the truth. What will you do? What will you say? What will you feel when you finally see their face? The next part will show you. The next part will reveal what happens when they finally find you. When there are no more crowds. No more witnesses. No more distance. Just you. Just them. Just the truth that's been waiting for this moment. One final truth before part 3. The confession last night? The news this morning? The knock comes when you least expect it. Not at a dramatic hour. Not in the middle of a storm. Just, ordinary. Just, now. You open the door. And there they are. The person you love. Standing in front of you. Breathing hard. Eyes red. Hands trembling. They didn't call first. They didn't warn you. They just came. Driven by something they couldn't control anymore. For a moment, neither of you speaks. The silence isn't empty. It's full. Full of everything that's been waiting. Full of every moment you both avoided. Full of the truth that's about to arrive. Then they say it. 3 words. But not the ones you're expecting. Not, "I love you." Not yet. That would be too easy. That would be too simple. They say, "I'm so sorry." And you feel it. Not because you've been waiting for an apology. But because of how they say it. Like they mean it with every part of their being. Like they've been carrying this weight for years. Like they're finally setting it down at your feet. You step aside. They come in. The door closes behind them. And everything changes. They stand in your space now. Your home. Your safe place. Your world. And they look around like they're seeing it for the first time. Like they're seeing you for the first time. "I've been such a fool," they say. Their voice is raw. Broken. Real. Then they tell you something you never expected. Something they didn't even say last night. Something that came to them after the confession. After the news. After everything shifted. "I've always known. Always. Since the very first moment I saw you." You feel your heart stop. Then start again. Faster. "I knew you were different. I knew you were the one. But I convinced myself it wasn't true. I convinced myself I was imagining things. I convinced myself you could never feel the same." Another piece. Another layer. But last night, when I finally said it out loud, something happened. I felt it become real. They pause. They search your eyes. They're looking for something. Maybe hope. Maybe permission. Maybe just a sign that they're not too late. "Before today," they continue, "I thought I had more time. I thought I could wait. I thought I could figure it out slowly. But then I got the news." They stop. Their voice catches. You watch them struggle. You watch them try to find the right words. "Someone told me about you. About something that's happening. Something that's going to change everything." You feel a chill. What do they know? What have you been hiding? What truth have you been keeping from everyone? But before you can speak, they continue. "They told me you've been planning something. Something big. Something that would take you far away. And I realized I was about to lose you forever. Without ever telling you the truth. Here it is. The moment. The climax. The truth that's been building across 3 parts." They take a step closer. You can feel their warmth. You can feel their heartbeat. You can feel everything they're not saying. "I'm not here to ask you to stay. I'm not here to make you choose. I'm not here to complicate your life." They pause. Their eyes lock onto yours. Their voice drops to almost a whisper. "I'm here to tell you that I love you. Not because I need something from you. Not because I want to change your plans. But because you deserve to know. You deserve to know that someone in this world sees you. Really sees you. And loves you for exactly who you are." Something shifts inside you. Something cracks open. Something you've been protecting for years. They continue, because they can't stop now. They've opened the door. And everything is pouring out. I've watched you from a distance. I've watched you laugh. I've watched you cry. I've watched you be strong when you wanted to break. I've watched you give to everyone and ask for nothing. And every single time, I felt something. Something I couldn't name. Something I was too afraid to explore. But I'm not afraid anymore. Not of that. Not of you. Not of what you might say. They pause again. They're shaking. But they don't stop. I don't care what happens next. I don't care if you leave. I don't care if you never speak to me again. I just needed you to hear the truth. From my mouth. Without anyone else in the room. And then you realize something. Something that makes this moment even bigger. You've been listening. But you haven't responded. You've been taking it all in. Letting their words land. Letting their truth settle. And now they're waiting. Waiting for you. But a question forms in your mind. A question that changes the direction of everything. Did you hear the news about them? No. Wait. That's not the question. The question is, what if your plan isn't what they think? What if your plan is something else entirely? What if the news they received was incomplete? You open your mouth to speak. To tell them. To reveal your own truth. But something stops you. A feeling. A knowing. A whisper from somewhere deep. Wait. Wait just a moment longer. There's another piece. One more revelation. The news they received wasn't about you leaving. It was about something much bigger. Something that involves both of you. Something that was set in motion long before last night. The message they received this morning? It came from someone who knows what you've been hiding. Someone who knows why you've been silent. Someone who knows that this moment. Right here, right now. It's not an accident. That person revealed something else. Something they didn't tell you. Something they only told the person you love. You're not the only one who's been afraid, the message said. They've been afraid too. They've been afraid of telling you the truth. They've been afraid of admitting what they feel. But they've been waiting. Waiting for you to make the first move. Waiting for you to show them it's safe. The person you love stands in front of you. Their eyes are full of hope. Full of fear. Full of everything they've finally allowed themselves to feel. And you realize. You're not the only one who's been holding back. You're not the only one who's been hiding. You're not the only one who's been waiting. So here's the question that will decide everything. Here's the question that will determine what happens next. Here's the question that's been waiting for this very moment. When they look at you like this. When their heart is completely open. When there's nothing left to hide. What will you finally admit? The truth is on your lips. The truth is in your chest. The truth is burning to be spoken. But will you speak it? Will you let it out? Will you finally be as brave as they've been? The next part will reveal what you say. The next part will reveal whether two hearts finally collide. The next part will reveal the truth that changes everything. But first, take a breath. Feel this moment. Feel the weight of everything that's led to this. Feel the sacredness of standing face to face with the one who's always known. Then let the truth come. Let it rise. Let it finally find its way out. The words are right there. On the edge of your lips. Waiting. Trembling. Begging to be released. You look at them. Really look. Not the way you've been looking for years. Not the guarded glance. Not the careful observation. The deep look. The one that sees everything. And you see it. You see the fear in their eyes. The hope. The exhaustion from carrying this weight alone. You see the child they used to be. The one who learned to hide. The one who learned that love wasn't safe. The one who's standing in front of you now, finally unlearning all of that. And something breaks inside you. Not in a painful way. In a releasing way. Like a dam finally giving way. Like a door finally swinging open. Like a truth that's been buried too long, pushing through the soil. I have something to tell you, you say. Your voice is steady. Steadier than you expected. Steadier than you feel. They freeze. Their breath catches. They've been waiting for this moment. But now that it's here, they're terrified. Last night, you continue, when you spoke in front of everyone. I heard about it. Someone called me. They told me what you said. And You stop. You need a moment. You need to find the right words. Because these words matter. These words will change everything. I sat in my room and I cried. Not sad tears. Not angry tears. Tears of relief. They look confused. Relief? What could possibly be relieving about a confession that exposed so much? But then you explain. And this is where everything shifts. Because I've been carrying the same thing. The same fear. The same silence. The same waiting. You step closer. Closer than you've ever been. Close enough to feel their breath. Close enough to see the tiny details of their face. Close enough to never look away again. I've loved you for so long, you say. So long that I can't remember when it started. So long that it feels like I was born with it. So long that I thought it would kill me to never say it out loud. They gasp. A small sound. A sound of disbelief. A sound of hope finally meeting reality. All those years, you continue, when you thought I didn't see you? I saw you. Every single time. Every glance. Every smile. Every moment you thought I wasn't paying attention. I was. I was always paying attention. Now the tears come. Not theirs. Yours. Finally. After years of holding it all in. But I was scared too, you admit. Scared of being wrong. Scared of being rejected. Scared of losing what we already had. So I said nothing. I watched you. I hoped. I prayed. And I waited. Another piece. Another layer. Another truth that's been hidden too long. Sometimes I would imagine what it would be like. To tell you. To finally let it out. To see your face when you heard the truth. But I always stopped myself. I always found a reason to stay silent. Their hand reaches out. Tentative. Afraid. But determined. Their fingers touch yours. And the world stops. Not metaphorically. Actually. The noise fades. The distractions disappear. There's only this. Only them. Only you. Only the truth that's finally breathing between you. But the news you received today. You say. It wasn't about me leaving. It wasn't about a plan to go far away. They look at you. Confused again. Waiting. The news I've been hiding. The news I didn't tell anyone. Is that I've been trying to find the courage. To tell you. That I want to stay. That I've always wanted to stay. I just needed to know it was safe. Needed to know you felt it too. Their eyes widen. The realization hits. All this time, they thought you were going. All this time, they thought the window was closing. All this time, they were racing towards something that was never leaving. But here's where it gets even bigger. Here's where the story takes its final turn. Because there's one more piece. One more truth. One more revelation that completes everything. I know what you did, you whisper. Last night. When you spoke in front of everyone. I know how hard it was. How terrifying. How vulnerable. They nod. Unable to speak. Unable to move. And I want you to know something, you continue. That was the bravest thing anyone has ever done for me. And I've been waiting my whole life for someone to be that brave. To be that honest. To risk everything just to tell me the truth. You step even closer. There's no space left. No distance. No walls. So now I'm going to be brave too. I'm going to say what I should have said years ago. I'm going to stop hiding. I'm going to stop protecting myself. You take their hand. Fully. Completely. With no fear. I love you. Not because I need you. Not because I'm afraid of being alone. But because you're the only person who's ever made me feel like I belong. Like I'm seen. Like I'm known. Like I'm home. They collapse into you. Not dramatically. Not theatrically. Just, completely. Like they've been holding themselves up for years and can finally let go. Their arms wrap around you. Their face presses into your shoulder. Their body shakes with silent sobs. And you hold them. You hold them like you've always wanted to. You hold them like they're the most precious thing in the world. Because they are. The story could end here. It could be perfect. It could be the happy ending everyone wants. But there's one final layer. One more revelation. One more piece that makes this moment even more profound. Because this isn't just about two people finally confessing. This isn't just about love overcoming fear. This is about something much larger. The person you love? They weren't just confessing for themselves. They were confessing for you too. For the part of you that needed to hear it. For the part of you that had given up hope. For the part of you that was about to close the door forever. And the news they received today? It wasn't about your plan. It was about your heart. It was someone telling them that you were hurting. That you were waiting. That you were about to give up. That's what drove them here. That's what gave them the final push. That's what made them brave enough to show up at your door. And now? Now you're here. Together. Finally. No more hiding. No more silence. No more fear. But wait. There's still something left. Something you haven't noticed yet. Look at their hands. The one holding yours. Look closely. There's something there. Something they've been carrying since they left the house. Something they almost forgot to give you. It's a letter. Written before they came. Before they knew you would say yes. Before they knew you loved them back. They wrote it in case you said no. In case you slammed the door. In case their courage wasn't enough. It was their goodbye. Their final words. Their way of letting you go if they had to. They look at you now. They look at the letter in their hand. They look back at you. And they smile. A small smile. A relieved smile. A smile that says, I don't need this anymore. They crumple the letter. Drop it on the floor. And pull you closer. All I need, they whisper, is right here. All I've ever needed. All I'll ever need. And you know it's true. Not because it's romantic. Not because it's what you want to hear. But because you feel it. Deep down. In the place where truth lives. This is it. This is the moment. This is what you've been waiting for. This is what the entire story was leading to. And yet, one final question remains. One question that will echo beyond this moment. One question that will stay with you forever. If you had known this was waiting all along. If you had known they felt the same. If you had known the truth was this close. Would you have waited so long? Would you have wasted so many moments? Would you have let fear steal what was always yours? You'll never know the answer. Because the past is gone. But the present is here. And the future? The future is something you'll build together. Starting now.